This adventure started with perfect cell signal and ended with my laptop working with no signal. The RMS Queen Mary, the most haunted ship in America, and was partially owned by White Star Line, which operated the Titanic. In service from 1936 to 1967, the Queen Mary was the fastest and largest ship of that time. 81,237 gross tons and over 1,000 feet long. The Queen Mary was the ship of luxury and class until World War II. The Queen Mary, now stripped down, painted Battleship Gray, renamed the Grey Ghost. The Grey Ghost was the fastest and largest troop ship during the war, holds the record to this day of carrying the most souls on board, 16,000. It is even said that Hitler had a reward for any German U-boat that could sink her. No one dared to fire. The Queen Mary was only ever damaged one time in 1942, when she split the HMS Caracoa in two. I wonder how a ship with such a rich history can be haunted. Maybe that history is why. 55 known onboard deaths, not including those lost during the war. One of the souls being John Petter, an 18-year-old crewman in 1966 who was working in the engine room. The crew received notice for the watertight doors to close. A few minutes later, they received an alert that door hatch 13 didn't close properly. John Petter was found crushed. They say his soul is still in the engine room. People often hear sounds of running or whistling, or a man in blue coveralls who looked just like him. Women feel their hair clothes pulled when down there alone. The most terrifying occurrence I discovered happened in the 1960s. A man brutally murdered 2 women, and he was locked in his room B340. A guard stood outside the door as they sailed to New York, where the police would meet them. The man pounded on the door, screaming that someone in the room was trying to kill him. But no one was in the room with him. Guards ignored his plea. Eventually, the screams ceased. The next day, when the police opened the door, the man had been ripped apart, his entrails and limbs spread all over the room. I had discovered many stories of the Queen Mary's deaths and spirits, but one stood out above them all. The Lady in White. A lady in a fancy white dress, often seen dancing to no music. No one knows her identity, but one theory stands out to me. After the war, the Queen sailed bride and baby voyages carrying war brides and children back to the US to be reunited with their husbands. If not claimed upon arrival, they risked being sent back. The theory goes that the Lady in White still explores the ship, waiting to be claimed. But I'm still left haunted by one question. What happens to us after we die? Everyone wants to believe there's something more after we draw our last breath. Is this why we desire the paranormal? What happens to our energy, our souls, after we die? Can a piece of us actually be left behind? What happens when we are ultimately led into the darkness?